Yes, we're back. 7:31, going on 32 is the time from our studios here. Welcome to Dailies Today, sponsored by MTN Nigeria. I'm Sheriff Quadry.
I'm Jimi Disu.
Yes, Jimi Disu is
I'm
here,
quick on
Lagos.
the draw today.
Okay, let's go on a break and hear from our sponsors, MTN Nigeria, and we will be right back in here to, take a look at the headlines. Stay with us.
Dailies Today will be right back. Welcome back to Dailies Today. Dailies Today.
Dailies Today.
On 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Lagos, we're back. Welcome to Daily Today. If you're just joining us for the very first time, this is the part 2 of Daily Today, sponsored by MTN Nigeria. So let's start. You can watch us live, by the way. You can watch us live on Facebook and YouTube. Please go there, watch us, drop your comments there. We're streaming live as we speak. Facebook is Nigeria Info 99.3. Detail for YouTube as well. Go there. Let's know what you think about this headlines we're about to treat. You can also send in your thoughts via Twitter at Nigeria Info FM. You can put in copy at Jimi Disu as well. So we can get your tweet here in the studio. You can also send in your thought via WhatsApp. The WhatsApp number is 0809 5975805. Let's get started. We start with the Vanguard newspaper on page 11. Sanwo-Olu hands over 51 vehicles, 8 houses to judges.
Yeah, yesterday, an old classmate and my lawyer, Kilias, he died yesterday. He was in his official age was in his late 60s. And it came at about the time these tweets came, and I was happy that, I was happy for him to leave this world, even though, let me explain what I mean.
Yeah.
You got to a point in life where you begin to see things that Yorubas call EB, things that are completely destructive that you'd rather not see. We'll all die one day, So, and what I saw yesterday is exactly that. Governor Sanwo-Olu put out a tweet where he had bought about 50-something vehicles, for the judges, paraded them, put ribbons around them. There were canopies. It was a ceremony.
Right.
And from the photographs, apparently each judge was called upon to receive the vehicles. It is the greatest tragedy that ever befell our state. Started by Wike, followed by Akeredolu, and now you have completely decimated the judiciary. It is not done. There are 3 arms of government.
Right.
You have the judiciary, you have the executive, and you have the legislature. Each one of them has his own first-line charge to the budget. Even if you wanted to assist, even if you wanted to give them vehicles or whatever it was, it is not done. What they have actually done, and I'm surprised that the judges actually allowed themselves to be used in such a manner. I'm sorry to say, if I end up in prison...
Do they have a choice? Do they have a choice?
Of course you have a choice.
They do? They have a choice?
A judge should be principled. They know the ethics. A judge should be principled. They know the ethics. It's a shame to the judiciary and the legal profession. And I'm going to call on top lawyers, lawyer Femi Okunu, people like that who are still alive, to stand up to this nonsense. There was a judge in the 60s, in the days when judges were judges, who didn't even attend his own daughter's wedding reception. He went to church and he went back. Would you tell Elias to come and stand up to get the key of a vehicle? Would you disgrace the late Justice Adefarasin to line up and then the governor gives him? What is wrong? What kind of country are we in now? And this was started, unfortunately. We need to go down memory lane. It is being said that a late judge was the one who advised these politicians that take very good care of the judiciary. Because the way it appears now, can you win a case against the government in court? They've been compromised.
Right now, the presentation of these gifts.
It is a compromise. What business did he give gifts to the doctors who put their lives on the line?
What if the judges are what if the judges are very, very honorable, and to the point that no matter the gift you give them, they will not be compromised. If you like, go to heaven and pluck something
Sherry,
and bring.
You should be thankful to God that I don't have a pistol in my.
What are you going to do? What do you want to do?
No, I'm just joking. No, but jokes aside,
Right.
a bit of fun to lighten things. But it was being said that it was a judge who advised these politicians to take care. What about the doctors who put their lives on the line? Someone who didn't think there's a need to reward them. What about the lecturers who are going to teach our children and contribute more to development?
Lasso came out the other day.
They were striking for minimum wage. Nobody is deceived by all this. And Governor Sanwo-Olu was ill-advised. He has this penchant for everything publicity. The other day, one small child was saying, "Mommy, it's okay. And then it became a big thing. That's triviality. The man needs to get down and get the job done and stop all these public relations exercise. I told him when he was being sworn in that you are not Barack Obama. This is not America. When he was pointing fingers and doing that later on, he needs to get serious. He needs to put regular calls to Babatunde Raji Fashola. Even if you wanted, let's even say that the judiciary approached you for assistance.
Right.
There is a way these things are done. You don't publicly give this. Don't get me wrong. The judges are entitled to the cars and houses. If that is what we put in as a policy for them, I have no problem with it. Okay.
Yeah.
I also have no problem with the humongous whatever that the politicians have ascribed to themselves as pension. If they will pass it around everybody, who is a judge? A judge is a law graduate who, after 12 years of being a lawyer, now becomes a judge. Why don't you do the same thing for professors? Education is important. Why don't you do the same thing for... Look at how the doctors fought for ordinary allowance. Yet when these doctors go on strike, we begin to chide them and say, no, they should listen to the Hippocratic Act. Our politicians are the most selfish human beings God ever created on the face of the earth.
Nigerian politicians.
All politicians. Look at what Trump is doing in America. And therefore, we must open our eyes to their antics. There was a case that came up, I won't mention who, where it was said a man out of pain, 80-something-year-old man, approached the court to save him from government in previous times, not in these current times.
Okay.
All the judge could say that both the man and the government should go and settle out of court. That was his ruling. And the man didn't ask to be, if he wanted to be settled out of court, he wouldn't have come to the court in the first instance.
Right.
So you are going to have a
compromised judicial system.
You could jolly well have, because, and that will be the perception. I would never take government to court in Lagos. I can't win. You can't blame me for having that perception. After a long speech and presentation of SUVs, each SUV will cost maybe something to about 20. Why don't you have, as part of the remuneration of judges, you give them a car grant of 10 million, let them go and sort themselves out? If the judicial arm doesn't have enough funds to buy brand new cars, if you give somebody 10 million in today's money, he will come up with a very good, because that's where we are. But no, we didn't do that. Tight ribbon around it. May God bless Taufik. He's a luckier person than I am, because he's almost gotten to that point. Every day you see things that are not well thought out. I think that Governor Sanwo-Olu was ill-advised.
If he had consulted with the people, do you think it would have made any difference?
He probably needs some PR consultant he can phone late at night who will tell him the truth. Jide Mashi, don't let them use you. But because a lot of the people under him, and I'm going to be very plain, a lot of them, of course, that's what killed Ambode. They're going to benefit from it. Say, yes, the governor must show this, the governor must show that, and do this and do that. It's not about publicity, man. It's about getting the job done.
Right. Right.
Which leads us to the next story.
Yes, let's move on to the next story.
Is it a story or an ad?
Very quickly. Oh, wow. Okay. So I tweeted about this some days ago, and one
Yes.
gentleman, corrected it. And it says, well, this headline reads, it's not a headline.
It's not a headline, it's an advert.
It's an advert. It reads, Victoria Island Lekki Traffic Circulation Project Oniru Axis. Official commissioning of upgraded network of roads in the Oniru Axis of Lagos provided by Access Bank PLC. Road improvement, Ligali Ayorinde, Murio Konla, Aboyade Ko, Murio Konla extension to link Chief Yesufu Abiodun Oniru Road. And some other things that the bank put it there. Well, that advert is put up by Access Bank.
Access Bank, yes. Is another kind of arrangement.
Right.
I don't have the details. Access Bank apparently maybe put up the funds and put up the whatever it is to do these roads along this axis.
Right.
Ligalia, Murio Konla, Akimbola Agbe Street, and so on and so forth. The job is fantastic. But having done that, I don't know under what arrangement it is.
Yeah.
We'll be educated about that later. That's not the issue. Is why do you want to now subject us again as usual to commissioning of roads? What it means is that this place is a no-go area for the rest of the day. Couldn't you, the road has been is being used?
Yeah.
Why must we have this idea of commissioning everything? Which ties into what I've just said now.
Yes.
And I said the special guest is the governor. At the time of COVID, you're having a ceremony, it's governor, and the whole place will be filled with people. Protocols might or might not be observed. Or protocols will appear to be observed, but you can jolly well imagine what it's like when the governor moves.
I can imagine.
Let us stop this ceremonial attitude towards governance. I'd like to be honest with you, to be fair, it's a nice initiative. People are the beneficiaries, the roads are well done, and this and that.
Very well done.
Very well done. You cannot fault that.
Right.
Okay. I don't know at what cost.
Yeah,
but that's neither here nor there. That's not. But look, it's well done.
Yeah.
But
well
please,
done.
can we just stop being ceremonial? Why must we publicize every little thing that is done? That is there. If in the look at my house in the UK,
Yeah.
I always have to go through London Bridge. It's London Bridge like a central portal.
Right.
Coming from the airport to stop at London Bridge. Every time I go there, I miss my way. There is always some major development. I go every quarter. Every time I go there, I always miss my way. Why are we so ceremonial? What is the big deal about tarring roads?
And nobody is commissioning anything.
Nobody's commissioning anything. Why do we continue to do this? Waste money, time, and focus.
Could it be it's because of that's what we understand as a people? That's how messages can be passed across to the people.
Then there must be something wrong with us.
I mean, let's think about it.
Because listen, you can put signposts in all these roads. If you must give credit to whom credit is due, you can name one of the roads after the bank if that's what you want to.
Right.
Do. There's so many things you can do. But for God's sake, don't disrupt. And already we have a traffic problem in the country. This is going to compound it, and it's unnecessary. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of funds. If Access Bank wanted to do, if they are the ones funding this, they could jolly well have applied the money to a little one more road. And for God's sake, these arrangements I would love if they can pass to other areas of the state, so that the masses too can, in the words of my late senator, they too can have something to eat.
Indeed. Let's look at this headline from the Vanguard. UK MPs write Commonwealth on insecurity in Nigeria. It comes with 3 riders. No genocide. They should focus on their problems. APC tells UK MPs. British security alert. Vote of no confidence on PMB. That's the PDP talking.
Yeah.
Reiterates call for sack of service chiefs.
The PDP are gloating at this story that the UK MPs write Commonwealth on insecurity in Nigeria. The PDP are gloating. Let me first of all make a point very, very clear. The points that they are making, a lot of them are valid, but it is none of their business. We are no longer a colonial country. If I had my way, Nigeria wouldn't even belong to the Commonwealth. You see, we as black people, I don't know when we are going to liberate ourselves. You understand? The other day,
We seek validation all the time, right?
We seek validation all the time. The other day, some American government was saying that, we are going to put a visa restriction on those who rig elections.
Right.
Did we put visa restrictions on what's going on any of the officials that you have in America, or do they think that we are not directly affected? Have we put any restriction on Trump? Have we commented on what Trump is doing? Completely irresponsible as far as health goes. These people should leave us with, and we should stop lapping up this idea. You remember Ben Bruce the other day?
Yeah.
I'm going to fund the American government. The other day we had a problem in the Senate. We should be independent in body and soul. Yes, they have a point. Don't get me wrong. But we must realize that a lot of these other countries have their own agenda, which might not fit into ours. We need to have the self-discipline to self-correct ourselves and self-rule ourselves and follow simple rules. But, of course, we will not do it. We are children who have refused to grow up.
Why is that so?
Because we have given these politicians are the most destructive thing that ever happened to this country. I maintain it. Majority of them, they never mean well. It's the same might apply all over the world, but let me talk about the one that is near me here.
But what is the role of the people in all of this? I mean, politicians are
The
just
role of the
minute.
people-
It's just
the
insignificant few.
The role of the people is predicated on what Helen Emore said, sitting down here yesterday, during the Ebumi.
Kevumi.
That let the real will of the people prevail. Let me ask you, how many of our politicians, including the great ones, the Timbers and Calibers, how many of them can win a free and fair election without financial inducement? What do? They continue to impoverish you and I, so that when they dangle some little thing at you, you grab it. That's the side effect. If you take chloroquine and you're not careful, you'll end up having an itch. If you have corruption, if you have poverty, that's what you're going to have. Compromise. And that is why they refuse to put a premium on education.
So it's been weaponized.
Look at a governor now. A governor is ready to buy vehicles for judges, because that's where the cases are going. He's not doing the same for doctors that affects health, or for teachers. Is it too much to give every teacher at least ₦1 million to go back so that you can encourage them to develop our children? But what do? They send their own kids abroad, okay, and bound your own kids to the Philistines. But look at what Awolowo said. And I want people, every time you must remember this. Awolowo said, I do not want the children of my driver to become drivers to my children.
That's quite deep.
It's very deep. I do not want the children of my driver to, and that's why he put a premium on, and most of them, ironically, who are upsetting the apple cart, most of them benefited from that thinking, but they're not passing it on. So what do?
Who is asking the questions?
So what do? They pacify you by giving you a rolota, giving you okada and all these things, so that you will never develop, you will never think.
Indeed. Jimmy, let's move on very quickly. The Vanguard is still here with us. We'll get Yoruba Nation without violence. Professor Akintoye is speaking. That story is on page 10 of the Vanguard newspaper. Leader of Yoruba Nation, Professor Adebanji Akintoye, has said that over 55 million people in Yoruba land will get their freedom without breaking the law of the country or shedding of blood.
Professor Akintoye, Adebanji Akintoye, is somebody I respect a lot. I have no problem with him. But he needs to go and wake up the spirit of Dr. Frederick Fashion and ask him what he had in mind when he started the OPC.
Okay.
And if the OPC is now where
it should be,
where he thought it would be.
Okay.
That is all.
Oh, ni so mean.
Yes, I mean.
Clearly.
No, it's enough example for him.
Okay.
It's enough example for him. It's like, I've been involved in demonstrations before. When we are planning demonstrations, we don't plan violence. It's usually hijacked. And that's why I stopped getting involved in those things. It's usually hijacked. When we are planning demonstrations, back then as students in school, when we were planning demonstrations, we usually are planning something peaceful. We are going to do this and do that. Then from nowhere, the whole thing is hijacked.
Do you think Yorubas want a separate nation? Like, I mean...
no, the funny thing is that if you ask this gentleman to let us have a referendum, they will rig it to suit their own agenda. What I do know that every Nigerian wants, as we speak this morning,
Right.
as people are listening to
Right.
us, what they want.
Right.
Everybody wants to be able to put food, first of all, in his stomach, irrespective of whether it's an outside man
They
that
don't-
is-
they don't
that
ma-
is
they-
giving
they
him the
don't
rights
care.
to eat. They don't care. We intermarry, we do all these things.
Yes,
I don't
we
know what
do.
the problem of these politicians are.
Yes, we do. We do.
We do intermarry. Nobody cares about where you come from. Look, Philip is not a Yoruba man. He's in and out of my house, left, right, and center. He's like a brother to me. We don't have that problem. And I don't believe that a reasonable Yoruba man will believe that if he has a Yoruba nation, then his problems are solved. No, his problems are just beginning. The governor that is handing cars to judges and so on and so forth, instead of putting money in health and education, is he from the north? Our problems are closer to us than we can jolly well imagine.
That's quite sad, really. I mean, looking at everything you said, it's quite sad. It's almost like, we're getting there. Let's go to YouTube and take some comments, Jimmy, very quickly. Let's see. Lukman Rahim says, "Morning, sir, Uncle Jimmy. Can this be explained at the front of Senate and House of Assembly contribute of funds because they don't have time to listen to this program?" Because they don't have time at all.
No, they're all. Look, all politicians are the same. You know, and also you have this Nigerian attitude that we always pass everything to God.
Yeah.
I can jolly well imagine one or two people saying that so for Benny let him go and rest somewhere. God will do it. God is not going to do anything. That's why He gave us a brain to think. God will do it 20 years down the line. See where we are. All your assets are gone. Your children can't go to good schools. You can't afford to go to hospitals. You're still talking about God doing it. Things are going wrong. And the people that have done us in the most are the elders. I put a call through to Gigi Ogunye yesterday night on this, what he did. You could feel the pain in his voice. I had to beg him that I would call him this morning to get his comment on air. He's fed up, he's tired. That's why I said, God bless Taufik Elias, who is
Your lawyer.
My lawyer. God bless him. He will no longer see these things. I'm getting fed up too. You have elders in the land who won't say anything. People who can pick up their phone and call these people to call them to order that this is not how it is done. No, everybody wants a part of the cookie jar. They want to be rewarded with.
Nobody cares about the next person.
Nobody cares. They
It's
want
just
to be,
about me.
They want to be rewarded with whatever comes to them and so on and so forth. I know people who can call, top people much older than me. In this particular case, lawyers, senior advocates. I know them, but they won't do that. They won't do that. I spoke to somebody yesterday. Said, "Is what he met on ground that he's doing. If you meet something wrong on ground, is that
Must you continue?
Must you continue?" I'm very, very disappointed in Jide Sanwo-Olu. He needs to buck up. I'm very, very disappointed in him. He should read the bottom of the cup and look at the tea leaves.
Set up. The Nation newspaper. Let's look at the Nation lastly before we go. Front page. Petrol, electricity, labor list conditions to halt strike. This has 3 riders. Government and LCTUC meet today. Governors to parley. Mobilization continues.
Let me use the words of Patrick Obahiagbon. You know Patrick Obahiagbon?
Yes, of course.
This is
Higi Haga.
This is Higi Haga Kum Gaga Tuan Gaga. It's all. This is this is like playing Ludo with the Nigerian people. We know all this.
I mean, you've always said it.
I've said it.
Yeah.
But the good thing though, even though the papers are, because media is part of the conspiracy, even though the papers are trying to hype it as much as possible, people are going about their own normal business. It's not like before. We are learning over time. Our people are getting smarter and smarter. And I hope the smarter they get. It's a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy. Labor, government, it's all a conspiracy. It's a pity I'm not bringing that.
In favor of the people or against the people?
Which people?
The Nigerian people.
Nobody thinks about people anymore. We are the last of the origins. Nobody thinks about people. Everybody thinks about himself. That's what. Do you think that the statement I made about Taufik Elias being happy that he has gone, do you think I just made it in a very simple form? That's exactly what I felt. When I heard that he died, I almost said Alhamdulillah to myself that at least Oju Eniri Ibi. For those of us who are from the past, forget these young people who don't know. Sometimes when I saw some of the reactions on Twitter, I just shook my head. But for those of us who are from the past, what we are seeing in Nigeria of today, forget the world. Ojuibilo. Yes. What we are seeing, I can't imagine. I can't imagine my godfather Taslim Elias to tell him to come and take. The car would have even been in his garage. Maybe it's on Saturday, he would walk around it and go back to his business. But look at what has happened.
Jimmy, we have to go. What's coming out at 9?
This is Wahala now. I'm going to call GT.
Okay.
Try and see if I can call two other persons. But I also have a Denusi Patrick.
Okay.
We want to look at this traffic situation that we have in Lagos.
All right.
And see if we can at least provide some kind of solution.
That would be nice. That would really be nice. Jimmy, thank you so much for coming around.
Thank you.
All right.
Sure.
So Lagos, that's how far we're able to go today. Join us again tomorrow at 7:30 for Dailies Today, sponsored by MTN Nigeria. Many thanks to our sponsors, MTN Nigeria, by the way, for making sure that we bring this kind of conversation to the radio for you. I am Sharif Quadry. When we return, it is Sickle Cell Awareness Month. We're having a public health physician on the show. Dr. Annette will be joining us at the moment, and we'll talk about sickle cell and the things that you think you know, but you actually don't know. We're back in a moment. Stay here. Jimmy, again, thank you for coming.
Thanks.
Jimmy is smiling.
Dailies Today will be right back.